In a world painted with the colors of dawn and dusk, nestled in a cozy, shimmering cave, lived a tiny baby dragon named Bubbles. Unlike other dragons who breathed mighty flames and soared through stormy skies, Bubbles was, well, a bit different. His scales shimmered with all the colors of a rainbow, and instead of fire, he breathed out shimmering, soap-like bubbles that popped into tiny, sparkling stars. He was a gentle soul, more curious than fearsome, and he often felt a little out of place. One morning, while chasing a particularly bouncy bubble, Bubbles stumbled upon something extraordinary. Tucked beneath the roots of an ancient, whispering willow tree was a map, but this was no ordinary map. It was woven from moonlight and sunbeams, and its lines shifted and shimmered, constantly changing. It seemed alive, humming with a quiet, magical energy. At the very top, written in stardust, were the words, "The path to true dragonhood." Bubbles' heart did a little flip. True dragonhood. This was it. This was the answer he had been searching for. Maybe this map would lead him to a place where he could learn to breathe real fire, grow enormous wings, and become the mighty dragon he thought he was supposed to be. With a determined puff of starry bubbles, he picked up the magical map and set off on his grand adventure. The map's first instruction led him not to a treacherous mountain, but to the edge of the whispering woods. Here, the path on the map transformed into a single, elegant symbol, an ear. Bubbles was puzzled. An ear? What did that mean? He sat down, feeling a little disappointed. Just then, an old wise owl named Professor Hoot landed on a branch above him. "Lost, little one." He hooted softly. Bubbles showed him the map. Professor Hoot squinted his large, intelligent eyes. "Ah," he said, "the map doesn't want you to go somewhere. It wants you to do something. It wants you to listen. Listen." Bubbles had been so focused on finding his destination, he hadn't paid any attention to the world around him. He closed his eyes and tried. At first, all he heard was the pounding of his own hopeful heart. But then, slowly, other sounds emerged. He heard the gentle rustle of leaves dancing in the breeze, the busy chatter of squirrels gathering nuts, the distant gurgle of a hidden stream, and the soft, rhythmic hum of the forest itself. It was a symphony he had never noticed before. He learned that the forest had a language of its own, full of secrets and stories. He spent days just listening, and he realized that true strength wasn't always about making the loudest roar, but sometimes about being quiet enough to hear the world's gentle whispers. With this new understanding, Bubbles looked at his map again. The ear symbol glowed brightly and then transformed into a new shape, a beautifully detailed eye. The map's path now pointed towards the crystal caves, a labyrinth of shimmering, reflective walls. Bubbles ventured inside, his rainbow scales casting dazzling patterns all around him. He expected to find a hidden treasure or a secret passage. But the caves were a maze of mirrors, and every turn only showed him his own reflection. He saw a small, bubble-breathing dragon, and a pang of his old insecurity returned. He was about to give up when he remembered Professor Hoot's advice. The map wanted him to do something, to see. But what was there to see besides himself? He looked closer. Instead of just seeing a small dragon, he started to notice the details. He saw the way the light caught his scales, creating a kaleidoscope of colors. He saw the curiosity sparkling in his own eyes. He saw the hopeful set of his jaw. He wasn't just a small dragon. He was a unique, vibrant, and determined little being. He started looking at the reflections differently. He saw the caves not as a confusing maze, but as a gallery of infinite possibilities. Every angle showed him a new perspective, a different shade of light. He learned that seeing wasn't just about what was in front of him, but how he chose to look at it. He realized that his own perception shaped his reality. By changing how he saw himself, the world around him began to look more beautiful and full of wonder. Feeling more confident than ever, Bubbles watched as the eye on his map dissolved and reformed into a new symbol, a playful, bouncing ball. The path now led to the sunny meadows, a vast expanse of soft grass and colorful wildflowers, where young creatures of all kinds came to play. Bubbles was hesitant. He had always been too shy to join in the games. He watched as fox kits chased butterflies and badger cubs tumbled down grassy hills. A friendly young unicorn with a mane like spun gold trotted over. "Want to play ball catch?" she asked, her voice tinkling like little bells. Bubbles was surprised. She wanted to play with his bubbles. He'd always thought they were a silly, useless trait. Tentatively, he blew a stream of shimmering orbs into the air. The unicorn neighed with delight, leaping and prancing to catch them on her horn before they popped into stardust. Soon, other animals joined in. They weren't judging him. They were celebrating what made him unique. Bubbles found himself laughing, running, and playing with a freedom he'd never felt before. He discovered the pure joy of a shared moment, the magic of laughter, and the simple, wonderful act of play. He learned that his differences weren't weaknesses. They were gifts that could bring joy to others and to himself. The map wasn't just a guide. It was an invitation to experience life. After a long, happy day of play, Bubbles checked his map one last time. The bouncing ball faded away, and in its place, a single, patient seed appeared. The map's shimmering line now led back to a quiet, peaceful spot right beside his own cave, under the same whispering willow where his journey began. Bubbles was confused. He had traveled so far, learned so much, only to be led back home. He sat down, feeling a mix of confusion and exhaustion. He had expected a grand finale, a magical transformation. He looked at the seed on the map and then at the ground around him, but he decided to wait. He had learned to listen, to see differently, and to play. Now it seemed he had to learn to be patient. Days turned into a week. He watched the sun rise and set. He listened to the forest's symphony. He saw the beauty in the familiar landscape of his home. He didn't try to force anything to happen. He just waited, trusting the journey. One morning, he woke up feeling different. A warm, gentle glow was radiating from his own chest. It felt powerful and steady. He looked at his reflection in a dewdrop. He was still Bubbles, the small rainbow-scaled dragon. He still breathed starry bubbles. But something had changed. His eyes shone with a quiet confidence, and his posture was taller, prouder. He finally understood. The map was never about finding a place or becoming someone else. The path to true dragonhood wasn't outside of him. It was within it. The listening, the seeing, the playing, and the waiting, they were all steps to help him discover the strength he already possessed. True dragonhood wasn't about breathing fire. It was about having a warm heart. It wasn't about mighty roars. It was about listening to the world and to himself. The magical map in his claws began to glow with a final brilliant light. It didn't transform into another symbol. Instead, it dissolved into a shower of golden dust, which swirled around Bubbles and then gently absorbed into his scales, making them shimmer more brightly than ever. He was home, he was himself, and for the first time he realized that was more than enough. Thank you so much for watching this story. If you enjoyed Bubbles' adventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more magical tales. See you next time.